All right, so welcome to today's training. And today we're going to be continuing with what we have been talking about, right? We have been on a series of technical analysis, right? This is the 10th day of this YouTube training. And please, if you have not gone through the previous 9 sessions, do want to go through the previous 9 sessions. Don't forget to like and subscribe so that you can get notification when new videos are about or drop. I checked the analytics and I noticed that most of you watching these videos are not subscribed to the channel. So just help me to subscribe so that um we'll be able to get first-hand information as to when I drop a new video. Right. So do you want to like this video, subscribe, and support us by sharing the link with your friends, right? So today we're going to be talking about something very important, and that is um weighing the pros and cons of risk versus confirmation entry, right? And I'm talking about risk entry versus confirmation entry, right? So yesterday I talked about a very powerful topic. Talk about the inducement engineer liquidity model, right? So today we're talking about risk entry versus confirmation entry. Now, this is a very important lecture because as a trader, one of the most important things that you must know is how to enter a trade, right? Now, some people are always asking me a question. Okay, sir. Okay, now I know that I must, I should enter a trade, right? But how do I enter? Should I enter when price comes to the let's use the last topic we used for this example. So we're talking using a single count order blocks as our entry criteria for this discourse, right? We'll just be using order block for entry in this example because there are other kinds of entry apart from order blocks. But for this example, we'll just be using order blocks as the only entry method, right? So that everybody can be on the same page, right? So we can all be on the same page. So who always ask me a question? Okay, risk entry, okay, confirmation entry. Why? How do we enter trades? Do we enter trades immediately price comes to a POI, or do we enter trades? Do we wait for some kind of confirmation? Now, not something. Now, risk entry has its advantages and confirmation entry has its advantages. So if you ask me, right, I would say that it depends on the kind of trader that you are, right? For instance, now, if you do not have much time to be on the chart, maybe you have something else doing, maybe a student, you have a 9 to 5 job, or you just have other engagements, you don't really have the time to be waiting for confirmations, right? So you can choose to employ what risk entry. Now, the disadvantage of using risk entry is that sometimes price might take you out before reversing because there are times in which the market intends to, the times in which you can have a POI now, right? You can have a POI now and price comes to your POI, right? This is your order block that you are intending a price to move from. And then maybe you place your limits when price was around there. You already placed your buy limits at that point there. Maybe you already placed your buy limits here, hoping that when price activates you, it's going to move from where it activates you. Maybe you already have when price will do something like this and then move. And then price does this instead. Price does this, takes you out, then moves. So this is the major um issue that's many risk entry people encounter, right? This is the major challenge that they encounter. So by far, this is the greatest challenge with risk entry. This, right? Market taking you out and then reversing. This is a major challenge that risk entry take because if you are waiting for confirmations, then you would not be waiting for, you wouldn't be, you wouldn't place your limit there. You would wait for price to come to your entry and then give you some kind of market structure break. Now, this now acts as what confirmation. Right? If you are a confirmation entry trader, right? You're not taking your trade directly on the other block. It was for price to come there and then give you what a lower time frame structural shift. So this lower time frame structural shift act as what your confirmation. That means price is ready to go what your direction. Or sometimes price can take out that low. You can take out this liquidity and then confirm for a buy. So sometimes price does this kind of thing where price will take out the low and then give you what a bullish confirmation for what a buy, right? So this now act as what a liquidity, right? A liquidity sweep, and then price does what and then price was reverses from there. So this is one of the challenges that people that take risk entry usually face, right? They face this kind of issues when you don't wait for confirmations. Right. So that is basically the challenge that those that take risk entry they face, right? They encounter two challenges like I explained earlier. Or the encounter was liquid, the encounter was stop runs, right? Market can run their stops, right? Before the market goes in their direction. These are the major challenges of what risk entry, right? Now, this is the major challenge of risk entry, right? When you take trades, another challenge that risk entry people take is that sometimes the stop loss can be very large, right? If you want to be a risk entry taker, you might be using a very large stop loss, right? Which will lead to what a lower RR, right? So this is one of the issues that they sometimes face because if you're using a risk entry, you have to put a stop loss all the way below the low, right? Maybe this is a 1 hour time frame now. You have to place your stop loss all the way down, right? So that price does not take you out. Because of course, if you're taking a trade from you cannot place your buy and then place your stop loss inside the range. No, you can't do this if you're taking risk entry. You have to place stop loss all the way down, right, to avoid situations where the market will take you out and then all those kind of stuff, right? So if you use risk entry, you have to use a lower large stop loss, which might lead to what lower risk reward. Meanwhile, someone that uses what confirmation entry would be using what the stop loss provided by what is confirmation. Let's assume maybe I use a confirmation entry now, right? So obviously, if I'm taking a buy with a confirmation entry, my stop loss will not be at the low. It will obviously be what at this point here, right? So this is one of the advantages of using a confirmation entry. So your price would you don't have to use the large stop loss, and of course, you enter only when price is ready to enter. You don't have to put your limits. Let's assume maybe if I was using risk entry, maybe my entry would have been here, stop loss would be down here. Meanwhile, if I'm using confirmation entry, assume maybe I use a confirmation entry, right? Of course, for a confirmation entry person, my stop loss will obviously be where, right? My stop loss obviously was below this low of the confirmation entry, right? This is the reason why it seems as though many people like using confirmation entry. So you can see that if I use a confirmation entry, I'm having a smaller stop loss. My entry is not all the way up here. My entry is down at this point, and then I'm using a smaller stop loss. So that's one of the reasons why some people prefer confirmation entries to risk entry. Now the major advantage of risk entry, right? This is the major advantage now. I want you guys to also understand this. I'm just kind of laying this thing up, right? Now, I've spoken about the reasons why people use confirmation entry. I've explained it that the two major challenges that cause to risk entries was stop runs and then large stop loss, right? You're using a bigger stop loss, which might lead towards a lower RR. So your risk reward might be lower because you're using what this, right? And then another issue is that it's sometimes difficult to know exactly where to enter because since the stop loss is very large, right? Sometimes you might wonder where exactly should I enter my trade? Should I enter here? Should I enter at this point? So sometimes knowing exactly where to place your limits can be a challenge, right? So but I wouldn't count that as what a disadvantage because it depends on the kind of trader. Because some people are very, very knowledgeable, so they know where to put their entry. So I wanted to say, okay, some people find it difficult to know where to enter a trade because of they don't exactly know where price can adjust from. So I won't call it a disadvantage because some people are actually very good in trading. They know where to put their stop loss. They know where to put their entry. So I wouldn't call that a disadvantage, right? So I'm just going to lay out the two most obvious disadvantages of using what risk entry, right? Stop runs and then larger stop loss. Now let's talk about the good part of using risk entry. I just want to examine this so I can know the kind of trader you are, right? Now The advantage of this is that you don't miss the move, right? You capture the move, right? You don't miss. So what do I mean by this? There are times in which, okay, for instance, as in me now, like as someone that has been traded for a while, there are times in which I have seen trade opportunities, right? And I was planning to wait for a confirmation, and then I never saw it, right? I was waiting for a confirmation to enter the trade, and then look at what price did. Price just came here, he hit it, and then was moved immediately. There was no entry, no confirmation entry. Price just hit and then. So sometimes if you use um with risk entry, you don't face this kind of situation. So you never miss the move, right? It's very easy, it happens. So if you're correct with your analysis, you never miss the move. If you use risk entry, you don't miss the move because sometimes there are no confirmation entries, right? It's just markets comes to PO and then moves away immediately, right? Like what happened on GJ, right? Something happened on GJ, right? That was exactly what we were talking about. Now look at GJ here. And this was an example of what I was talking about. Let me show you that example. It happened on GJ, I think yesterday or thereabouts. Right? Very, very funny stuff. All right. Look at this on GJ. Can you see it? Look at it. Okay. Look at this here. So I think I was targeting this other block in my entry. I look at this other block in my entry here. You can see how GJ just came there. I said GJ just came there. There was no confirmation. He just ran away. So this is what we face. So I was targeting, because this was the last unmitigated other block here. I was targeting this for my entry on GJ. Price just came there and just moved away. There was no confirmation here. If you look at the lower time, let's go to maybe lower time frame to see there was an entry. Let's look at the 5 minutes time frame of that move, right? Look at the 5 minutes time frame of that move. You see that there was no confirmation entry there. So can you see it? Well, let's maybe use candlestick patterns, like maybe you use maybe engulfing candles and those kind of things, right? So unless maybe use candlestick pattern, because I can see an engulfing candle here, right? Some people use engulfing candles as entry, right? And that is fine. Unless maybe use candlestick pattern, but for me, I was waiting for what a market structure break, so I didn't get it. Right now, I know something. A confirmation entry is different, though. Me, I'm talking from the standpoint of what other blocks. Like, what do I mean? Market comes to a POI and then gives you what a bullish break. This is the confirmation I'm talking about. Oh. So this is what I'm talking about. I'm talking about structural confirmation, like this kind of break confirmation, right? That's what I mean, right? So if you use candlestick pattern, I can say an engulfing candle here. So this will have been your trade. Obviously, maybe you would have bought somewhere around there. Like this one, why I don't really like. So maybe as markets closed here, we have just bought immediately price closed. Right? Maybe I bought there. Maybe I've bought this trade. Maybe markets closed, we have bought there and then hold it, held it for the new high. So that would have been it. If you that was the only example if you use engulfing candle as what your confirmation. But if you don't use candlestick patterns as for your entries, they would have missed this. Price just came there and then what ran away, right? So that's what I'm talking about. So this is an example of what I mean. What I mean is sometimes price doesn't do what give you what that's confirmation entry you seek, right? So that what I mean, right? Sometimes price doesn't give you that confirmation that you seek, right? So that is it. So now you never miss the move. That's one of the advantage of what you doing this. You never ever miss the move, right? That's one of the advantage of what using a risk entry. You never miss the move, right? You always capture the move, right? And then it is also preferable for us for those that it's also preferable for also for people that are busy, when you don't have much time on the chart, you can always use those confirmation entry, risk entries because you're busy. You don't have time to be looking at chart pattern. You don't have to always be on the chart. You just place your limit and then you walk away. Maybe you analyze in the morning, you place your limit for the day and then you go to work. Then you come back around 5 p.m. or 6 p.m. when you're done with your work, and then you check your trades and see if they play that or not. That's one of the ways you can trade. If you are a busy person, maybe you're a student, and all those things, right? You can always use risk entries, place your limit, and then walk away and allow price to do its thing. So you have to weigh the pros and cons. Now let's talk about confirmation entry. Now for confirmation entry, right? For confirmation entry, there are just various, there are just few few disadvantages of confirmation entry. So for confirmation entry, you will miss some moves, you will miss some moves. Like I just explained when I was talking about, for confirmation entry, you're going to miss some moves. This is the disadvantage of confirmation entry. Right? You're going to miss some moves, right? You're going to really miss some moves, right? Because like this example, your price just came and then moved higher, right? You're going to miss some moves, right? You're going to miss it. If you use confirmation entry, you'll miss out some moves, right? You'll not be able to capture some moves. And sometimes, and then of course, if you use confirmation entries, right? If you use confirmation entries, sometimes price can still trick you. There are times in which price can give a fail if face a false, a false confirmation, and you still take a loss. Right. So sometimes price gives those false confirmation, like brackets will break and then still go down again. So sometimes that those confirmation entries, sometimes it acts as a trap, right? Maybe you're waiting for confirmation entry and then you will now sit and take a loss. So sometimes it acts as a trap for you because sometimes price the market you're just totally wrong. And you don't know you're wrong because what you're waiting for what confirmation entries, right? So I think this is a major disadvantage of it. I won't mention other ones where you miss some moves, right? You miss some, and then another disadvantage is that it keeps your eyes are always on the chart. So you're hooked on the charts, right? You don't have time to do something else. You're always hooked on the charts. If you use confirmation entries, you're always on the charts. You're always watching. Okay, has price come to my POI? Has price rejected? Has price given confirmation? So you're always on the chart, right? It makes you to always be hooked on the chart, right? You're always on the charts, right? You're always on the charts. You're always on the charts, right? So that's one of the disadvantage of what waiting for confirmation entry. And then the major advantage is what you avoid what you avoid stop runs, right? So you avoid stop runs, right? So and then you also avoid losses in dead or wrong trades. So now what do I mean? So now what I mean by this is that let me make this smaller so you guys can see it. So you okay. So you can always avoid losses in dead wrong trades. What do I mean? There are times in which your analysis is just wrong. You're just wrong with your analysis. There's nothing, you're just off point, right? When you wait for confirmation, you will know because price will just take, let's assume maybe you have an order block here, like one price to reject from, and then you are waiting for a confirmation to take your buy. Maybe you are waiting for a confirmation to take your buy, right? So market can just drop down. So in these kind of scenarios, you have avoided a loss because why? You are dead wrong, right? But if you're someone that uses risk entry, right, he's going to take a loss on this because he has already placed his buy limit. Meanwhile, the person that is waiting for a confirmation entry is still waiting. He has not executed yet. He's waiting for the market to give you what? A reason to enter the trade, right? Are you understand what I mean? So the person that uses confirmation entry is waiting for the market to give him what feedback to enter a trade. So and he doesn't see it. So no confirmation, no entry. So when you use confirmation entries, it helps to avoid cases where you're dead wrong, and then you can avoid this kind of losses completely. And they can also avoid stop runs. My market cannot run your stuff, right? If you take a loss, then it's a loss. But you don't be taking the market to take you out and then reverse. It doesn't happen when you wait for confirmation entry, right? Conversion entry helps to filter those trades where you are dead wrong, and you avoid some stop runs, right? You can't avoid all. You're going to avoid some stop runs, right? So in cases of stop runs, you're going to be avoiding markets, taking you out completely, right? If you're wrong, so it helps to avoid. Those are the two major advantages. Now I want to say something. Now risk entry is very suitable, like I said, it's very suitable for what people that are busy, right? People are busy and people that are what they like to hold trades for a long time. So if you're a swing trader, of course you might want to employ using the approach of what risk entry, right? So you don't always have to be on chart. Just take a trade and then allow it to move in your direction. Why? For confirmation entry, it's for those that are that are not busy. Those are not busy. They have time for chat. For those that have chat time, right? So people that have chat time, they are okay for confirmation entry, and those are what that are lower time frame traders, right? If you trade at the lower time frame, right? So maybe you're intraday trader, let's say day trader. So for a day or intraday trader, so you're a day or intraday trader or scalper. So I'm not here to explain the difference, right? So you have day intraday and then what scalpers. So these are all the people that take short-term trades, right? It's very convenient for them, right? Those people that take short-term trades. So this is for confirmation. So for a confirmation entry trader, they want to be you want to be considered. Do I have the chance time, and am I a lower time frame trader? Right, for those that are that like to take a risk entry, those that are busy and then they are swing traders. Those that like to take swing trades like long time, 7 hours, 12 hours, 2 days, 3 days. Right, that is good for them because they don't always have to be on charts, right? They're busy. So if you're a busy person, you always obviously want to be swinging your trades, right? You don't want to be doing two things at once, right? So this is how I don't have to wait. And I did this because of my paid students. I have private students that are asking me, sir, how do I enter my trade? Should I be using confirmation? Should I be waiting for should I enter the next day? So this is an answer to that question. For those of you that have been having this issue, should I enter my trades now? How do I enter my trades? I am busy. I'm a 9 to 5 trader, this and that. So I just wanted to just compare the advantages and disadvantages. So you will understand that both sides have their disadvantages and both sides have their what advantages, right? There's no one that's better, right? Sometimes I use risk entry personally. Sometimes I use risk entry. Sometimes I use confirmation entry. So I would not say that one is better than the other. Sometimes I use risk entry. Sometimes I use confirmation entry, right? And sometimes I still get stop runs, and sometimes I have experienced both sides of this equation, right? Although personally I like using confirmation entry because of why I am more of what a lower time frame trader, right? So I use more of confirmation entry, but if I take 10 trades, right, most times let's say 70% of my trades are confirmation entries, right? This is how I trade. So most of the 70% of my trade are what confirmation entry, while the remaining 30 can be risk entry. Right. So most times 70% of my trades are confirmation entry and the remaining 30 is risk entry, right? So you can do 70, you can do 50-50. So that depends on you. Or you can even do 100% confirmation. I put that at 100% confirmation, no confirmation entry. Then those are 100% risk entry. They don't look at confirmation at all. So it just depends on your level of knowledge and what you prefer, right? So there's no one that is better than the other, right? You can choose risk entry, you can choose confirmation entry, whatever floats your boat and whatever suits with your life situation, right? And then there are pairs that also take note of this. You have to understand the nature of the pair you're trading because there are pairs that never give confirmation entry, right? For instance, all these pairs that are driven by fundamentals, maybe US oil, all those kind of pairs that are fundamentally driven. Most of them they don't give confirmation entry, right? Maybe all those fundamental driven assets, like if there is a news, all those kind of pairs. If there is a fundamental level like a news, you cannot see a confirmation entry when there is news. It doesn't happen. Right? You can't see a confirmation entry during the news. It happens when there is no known fundamental event. So you have to consider the nature of the market at the moment when you're taking your trade. Is there a news event? Right? Does this pair give confirmation entries? You have to consider the pair itself. Does it give confirmation entries? All right. Is there news? Because if there is news, there's not going to be any confirmation. It's going to just hit and move away. And of course, news can also lead to stop runs. Market will take care of your stops and then what move your direction. So always consider the fundamentals, right, and the nature of the pair. So there are two things you should consider when you're choosing these methods. You have to look at what the nature of the pair, and then what fundamental elements like news, right? Is there a news? Is there a political event? All those kind of stuff help to narrow down your choice, right? So this is basically what I have for you guys. So if this made sense to you, do want to like this video and subscribe. And please, this video, don't watch it once. This particular video, watch it twice because what I said here, I believe and I strongly believe that you cannot understand it at one sitting. So I recommend this particular video that you watch it twice because this one I said a lot of things that I knew, right? That I have not even told my paid students. So for you, if you're my paid student that's watching this video, take time to watch this video at least 2 times so you understand what I'm saying, and then take it slowly. Don't rush. Take a note, write something down, and I will see you guys in the next teaching. So have a wonderful day. Tomorrow is day 11, right? Don't forget, and keep sharing these videos, subscribe, and like the videos. Have a wonderful day.